I have three questions in one. And the first one is related what you said about strategies. And do you think that is that studying and following advices like yours is enough, or do you think it's required to live them there, or working with someone with experience in China? And is it a risk for a Chilean company or South American company to send there someone who has not lived there for his or her inexperience? It's more or less that the question.
Yeah, I think both are very interesting and important points. Which is, okay, so on your first part of your question about is it enough to simply try to follow this type of advice? And my answer would be almost unequivocally no. It's important to understand where the types of concerns are, where the sensitivities are, but ultimately the only way you are actually going to transcend that divide between, for example, practicing law in Chile and clients in China is to have on-the-ground experience in China. And whether the way you build that is by going to China, for example, as a young lawyer and doing a master's of law in China and studying Chinese, or partnering with either a lawyer law firm in China that is familiar with that culture, making sure that you have a very good translator that you can trust both to translate the words themselves, but also the attitudes, the body language, the things that as a foreign lawyer or business person you might not be picking up on. So I think it's a start to just read about it or hear someone talk about it, but you don't really give yourself the kind of the maximum experience and value unless you somehow put yourself in China or have someone in China that you know you can trust and work with. And remind me the second half of the question.
Is it a risk? You have said it for a company, for a responsible company, to send there someone who has not that experience.
So what I would say is every part of business is a risk. So it's not that it is creating a risk that wasn't there already. I would say it's more from the perspective of you will be less able to mitigate risks, right? All the risks that already exist, you will have less ability to deal with if you're sending someone there who's inexperienced. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's creating a risk or that the deal will fall apart. You may send someone over who can, a young Chilean lawyer who can immediately bond, talking about how Chilean wine is very popular in China, someone who is well-spoken and gets along well with people, and it could go flawlessly. Even, things like I talked about, that there can be pushback against certain types of clauses in the contract. But that might not be the case, right? You might go and the Chinese party accepts everything on its face. So maybe there could be more of a struggle if you send someone over who's inexperienced, but I'd say the benefit of experience is going to be more to handle the situations where it doesn't go smoothly. I don't know that it in and of itself will cause the process to not go smoothly.
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yes.